Good morning again. It is with pride and excitement that I welcome you all to the Pap Corps 2015 annual check presentation. This check goes directly to Sylvester Comprehensive Center, and they're here so that they don't allow me to take it home again. Can you hear me there? Can you hear me? I would like to introduce our honored guests and on the dais and in the audience. Unfortunately, Mr. Ballard will show up as soon as the traffic allows him to do that. He's stuck in traffic. Rich Ballard is the CFO of Sylvester. Dr. Jerry Goodwin, who we really know, everybody knows. Dr. Brian Slomovitz, stand Brian, please. Jesse Bailey, our interim senior executive director. And my ladies from the office, my go-to people, Yoli Hernandez and Amy Ferguson. Last but certainly not least is Dr. Stephen Neimer, our director. Thank you all for what you do for the Pap Corps. And I'm thrilled, and so are you, I'm sure, that they could be with us today. Also in the audience is my family, my Aunt Lee, you could raise your hand, and my Uncle Sam, and I love you both for being here today. Thank you. Joy, I didn't want to forget you. Thank you for giving me all your support and for allowing me to take so much time away from you and giving so much of myself to the Pap Corps. I love you. We, the Pap Corps members, are a group of passionate and dedicated people. I congratulate you all for what you have done and for all you will continue to do. There are 12 women who are leaving office this year as presidents, and I would like to call their names. And if they're in the room, I'm not sure they're all here, please just stand. Jane Kimmel, Marilyn Levine, Paula Greenblatt, Claire Devaney, Dorothy Adler, Barbara Taub, Ronnie Browning, Dolores Greenberg, Esther Benazra, Judy Ozer, and Robin Sherman. We applaud you all for everything that you have done for us. We know we're not going very far, and you will continue to support your chapter and the Pap Corps. I would like to introduce Steve Noose. Steve? Who is our Chief Consulting Officer for the accounting firm of Berkowitz Pollock Brandt. Steve and their team are our new accounting firm for the Pap Corps. Sean is in the audience too. He's Steve's sidekick. And these two gentlemen are guiding us, and that's a big job, through the new phase of what we're doing for the Pap Corps. And Steve would like to say a few words to you.
Good morning. Good morning. That worked. Come on. One more time. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Listen, it's with a great deal of excitement and a little bit of tenacious taking step-by-step process as we go through a significant change. How many of you in the audience are excited about change? Okay.
At least one.
What? Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change makes us a little bit nervous. And I've heard that in this centralization process that we're going through, that everybody's a little bit nervous about that process. My job is to help you be at ease. My job is to help and bring best practices to the Pap Corps, all 50 chapters, to help make the process more efficient, more effective, and again, identify best practices. We're going to leverage what other nonprofit entities are doing out there and maybe steal a couple of ideas, and incorporate those into the process. But at the same time, listen to all of the chapters, all of the officers, a number of which are here today, and listen to say, how have you experienced things over the years, okay? And then try to build a consensus. Because now that we've grown to be this size, we're a very large organization, we need to have centralization, we need to have accountability, and there needs to be transparency. And at the same time, we're going to be able to recognize what each and every chapter is doing. We're just putting it in 50 different buckets, and we're keeping it all corralled in one big basket. Okay, so this whole transition process of having a little bit stronger, a little bit broader-based governance structure is important. And I sometimes draw the analogy, how many of you go up and down I-95 and maybe on occasion go a little bit faster than 70 miles an hour? Now, I'm impressed because there's a lot of hands that went up and a lot of you are being honest, so that's helpful, okay? But what happens if I put a state trooper car on the side of I-75 and there's not even anybody in there? I just set the car on the side of the road, what happens? Everybody's slowing down. Everybody's slowing down. And so really, that's what the governance structure is. It's just putting in some checks and balances, okay, just to make sure that everybody's doing everything correctly as best they can, and that we don't break the law and we don't break any rules. Okay, so I look forward to working with all of you. I know that we have a big meeting next week where we're going to actually have a working session. We're going to build consensus within the group, and my job is to introduce some best practice concepts to you and see if that's in the best interest for Pap Corps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Without Steve, Sean, and without the firm of Richard Berkowitz and Company, we wouldn't be able to do this alone. It's a tremendous job to put us all into one piece. And the truth of the matter is we've been like Humpty Dumpty. And now we've got all the glue that we need, and we're all going to come together, and we're going to do the best job as only the Pap Corps knows how to do. I would now like to bring to the podium Dr. Jerry Goodwin. I don't have to introduce Jerry. Everybody knows Jerry. Everybody's got your number.
Thanks so much. I can't believe it's been another year. Every year it hits me standing up here what a privilege it is for me to be here and look out at all of you and thank you on behalf of all of us for the tremendous amount of work that you've done all year long to support research at Sylvester. I think it was 14 years ago that we were talking about trying to open up a satellite at Deerfield Beach and move the Pap Corps offices there. This year we've passed a really amazing milestone. For the first time, there will be more patients treated, more care given in our 6 satellites than downtown. It's really pretty remarkable. And we wouldn't be there if it weren't for you. Your primary work is supporting our research, but this distribution of care, we wouldn't have done it without your encouragement, and I can't thank you enough for that as well. A couple more quick milestones. It's been a spectacular year for the hospital and for our research, and I know Dr. Neimer will tell you a lot more about that. But under his leadership, our hematologic malignancies program, leukemia, lymphoma, has just become one of the very best in the nation, along with our stem cell transplant. Our sarcoma program, under the leadership of John Trent, is also just making incredible strides. Lung cancer is giving way to treatment, and people are living longer and better than ever before. And I can go on and on. And of course, this is what we all do together and what we're here to celebrate today. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for all that you do. We're very grateful.
You're great as usual, Jerry. Thank you. I just want to say from myself, I would be very remiss if I did not, also, which I didn't do, include other people who are working with us behind the scenes, more or less, or unless you call our office, they're right there. Our office staff is awesome. We have Renee Gutterman, Kathy K, because I can never pronounce her name, and Nicole Martin. Nicole is our financial gal, and don't put the wrong number on the check because you'll hear from Nicole. She's right on board. So thank you, ladies, for all you do. Andy, what can I say about Andy? Andy is my right-hand girl, or I'm hers, whatever way you want to talk about it. We work very well together. She does everything that we need done to make the Pap Corps what we are today and what we will become. So Andy, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Thank you for all you do. And now our guest speaker of the day, Dr. Stephen Niner, an expert in treating leukemia and lymphoma. He is the director of Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. And I can't say any more about him. He'll say it for himself.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Morning. So, like Dr. Goodwin, it's a real thrill to be up here again, to have some of your time, and to explain what the hard work you're doing means to Sylvester, means to the patients we take care of, and means to the families of all the patients who are worried about cancer, or who are dealing with cancer, or who are dealing with surviving their cancer and their treatment. And in the United States now, there's over 18 million people who are cancer survivors, a number that has never been reached before. So, I have some prepared remarks, and my one goal is to say very little of what's prepared, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happening at Sylvester. I want to make sure I tell you a specific patient story, and I also need to thank a number of people. First and foremost is Joanne Goldberg, the president of the Pap Corps. Barbara Purcell, the past president, Andy Thomas, the executive director, Naomi Prever, other past presidents, the presidents of the current chapters, and each and every one of you. And your connections, the model of Facebook, for instance, is that one person has 100 friends, and their 100 friends have 100 friends. And so we used to talk about 6 degrees of separation, but now we talk about 100 degrees of separation, and really everyone is connected to everyone. And so I know that the work that you do is tireless, but it also involves your family and your friends. And so we really want to thank each and every one of you, and please thank your friends and family for us. We have a huge mission, and that's really to relieve the burden of cancer in our society. And in Florida, we know that the incidence of cancer per person is the highest in the United States. So this year, or I guess in 2014, and I'd hope we can get a loud round of applause, is that Florida passed New York State as the third most populous state in the United States. And so, as you know, I was at Sloan Kettering for 20 years in New York City, and it's having moved down here 3 years ago, I'm thrilled with the fact that we've passed New York in terms of our population. It's not so good that the incidence of cancer in Florida is higher than in any other state, and in part it reflects the fact that cancer is a disease of aging, or of the elderly. And so the good news is if you're under age 40, you generally don't have to worry about cancer, but if you're over age 60, it really becomes an important worry. And so we need to be here for our community. The state of Florida has around 20 million people. We are on a mission to become an NCI-designated cancer center. Right now, there's 41 of those in the United States for about 300 million people. So that's about 1 for every 7 million people. So Florida really needs to have 3. And so we have gotten the backing of the state legislature and the governor to become really the next NCI-designated cancer center in our state. And so with your help over these many years, we will reach our goal. Our hope is in 2017 to apply. The application itself is about 1,600 pages. And so the application is distributed to 20 people, and they all read 80 pages really carefully, word by word, to see if we've made any mistakes. And so it's a huge undertaking. In pursuit of the cancer NCI designation, we've been able to recruit now 63 new physicians and faculty and scientists from all over the United States that are working together to solve this problem of cancer. So I want to talk to you about precision medicine. Precision medicine is something President Obama talked about in the State of the Union address, and that's to understand what drives each patient's cancer and to figure out the best way to treat cancer based on knowing sort of what's the fuel source, so we can turn off the fuel that's driving the growth of the cancer. And we are at the forefront of work in this area, and we're continuing to make strides because precision treatments allow us to treat the cancer and spare the normal cells. And so there's far few side effects for these things. And so it's very important to us to develop precision medicine. The other thing that I need to tell you about is immunotherapy. There's been a lot of TV shows about cancer recently. The Emperor of All Maladies was on PBS, based on a book by Sid Mukherjee, and told a lot about the history of cancer. Those of you who watch HBO, there's a show called Vice. They've covered cancer, and about 2-3 weeks ago, 60 Minutes had a story about using viruses to treat brain tumors, some work that's being done at Duke, and that's called oncolytic tumor viruses, okay? What oncolytic means is it breaks apart, it kills cancer cells, and these are viruses that don't cause disease, but can invade the cancer cell, and once they're in the cancer cell, they destroy the cancer cell from within. Okay? And so we've been building a program here. We have 3 world-class people working on it. We hope by the end of the year to have doubled the number of people working on this. And these 3 world leaders are developing one of the best oncolytic tumor virus program in the world. And so while you've read about it on 60 Minutes, we will have in South Florida one of the world's very best programs in oncolytic tumor viruses. And so this is a very promising way to treat cancer. The third, so there's precision medicine, there's oncolytic tumor viruses. The third thing is to talk about immunotherapy. And there's also been TV shows about immunotherapy. We take immune cells from the patient. We engineer them. We basically put a mark in the cell that allows it to track to the leukemia cell in most cases so far. And those, we give back the patient's own immune cells that are supercharged. And those immune cells now can find, like a smart bomb, they find the leukemia lymphoma cells, they destroy it. And there's also been reports now that for childhood leukemias that have failed all other treatments, about 80% of the children with these leukemias, the leukemia goes into remission, despite everything else, including bone marrow transplantation, failing. And so what we're able to do now with some of these cancers is to cure metastatic cancers that were never before cured. Okay, and so this is an amazing. So the research that we do, which has been heavily supported by the Pap Corps over the last decades, is allowing us to do this research, life-saving research, and to provide it to patients in our community. The other thing that's very important about Sylvester is the way we take care of patients. And so I want to relate one story to you about a patient. Hopefully you will not be able to figure out who he or she is, but this particular woman.
You just let it out of the bag.
Yep, I did. This particular woman was diagnosed with pancreas cancer, and she felt miserable, and she was going to give up. And so she was going to, actually, honestly, she was going to Oregon because they have an assisted suicide law in Oregon, and she was going to go to Oregon and just end her life because she felt miserable. Her son called Sylvester, was very worried about his mother, and so his mother was admitted to Sylvester. Every day, lots of different people, including some of the people in this room, went to visit her, and I'm going to use the expression she used, that after a couple of days, she felt embraced in a cocoon of love, okay, at Sylvester. So she decided she should start on chemotherapy. So she took chemotherapy for her cancer. The cancer shrank, and last week she had potentially curative surgery performed by Dr. Nipun Merchant, who's the new head of surgical oncology, and she may be cured of cancer. Okay? Yeah. So this is why we become doctors and why we become scientists and researchers, and this is why you do what you do. So I thank you for all that you do for us. I really can't even continue to, I'm not going to top that story in any way, but let me just thank you for a few things. Last year, for the first time, we established an endowed professorship, a junior professorship, which was given to Ronan Swords. Dr. Ronan Swords is doing amazing things. And so there are drugs that are at the cutting edge of treating leukemia, and we are among the very first in the world, not just in Florida or the United States, in the world to be using these drugs for patients with leukemia and lymphoma at our center. The support that you give us touches so many people's lives that I thank you for all you do, and I will just guarantee you, as I think I did last year, that we will work tirelessly to find solutions and to take care of your friends and family. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Neimer. What Sylvester is doing and accomplishing is truly awe-inspiring. And You at Sylvester have all of our hearts, and thank you for all that you do. Every doctor, no matter how big, how little, is doing something important that may save one of our lives. As we applaud the brilliant achievements of the dedicated doctors and the researchers at Sylvester, we are going forward with what we do, what the Pap Corps does. And we look at Dr. Sword's work with a little extra pride. The Pap Corps is powerful and has a great influence on what is done at Sylvester. Thanks to all of our chapters, because without you, we could not do what we do. And we are consistent year after year, giving funds to the doctors, and we have made a significant impact on cancer research. Last year, we did something that was really special and quite different. We did it because lives were on the line. We dug deep, and we made strategic decisions, and we were blessed with additional legacies, and we were able to do the endowed professorship. Dr. Schultz has been, he's so sorry he couldn't be with us here today, but he's probably playing golf or something, you know. Anyway, what he has accomplished is absolutely amazing, and that's only the beginning. This year, we're beginning an innovative partnership with Sylvester. It's a matching fund initiative in collaboration, thank you, with the acclaimed Community Foundation of Broward. Our special allocations will match dollar for dollar and will establish a research grant to support the study of metastatic tumors. This type of alliance is the wave of the future in philanthropy, and it allows us to amplify our giving. Also this year, our giving takes on a greater significance for Sylvester. As Dr. Neimer touched on, they will be allocating our funds in a way that will accelerate their path to becoming an NCI designated cancer center. This will be a prestigious achievement and will greatly enhance Sylvester's impact on cancer research. Detect, treat, survive is their motto, but it is because of all of you that their efforts are accomplished. Yes, research matters, but we do not know when and whom will be the next victim. It is an exciting time in cancer research, and our phenomenal grassroots organization, us, the Pap Corps, are helping to effect these global changes. I thank you, I applaud you, and together, united, we will remain steadfast to our vision of living in a world without cancer until we can say, mission accomplished. Thank you all. I myself are very excited about what we do every day. My board, who are new this year, but are fabulous people, we come together, we argue, we discuss, mostly argue, but we discuss, and we come to the end result. I am proud this year to have Dr. Nimer, Dr. Goodwin, everybody up here, and all of you view what we are giving to Sylvester in just a minute as soon as I unwrap it. Huh? That's okay. No, you can't. Oh, you're right. Dr. Nimer wants to know if I need any help. That way he gets his hand on the check. Okay, Dawnnie, rip it.
Got it?
No, we think we do. Little suspense.
Yay!
Okay, come on up, everybody. When I hold this up, it is because of you, and only you, and all our other constituents, that this can happen. So we are going to continue our work, and we're just going to keep going. That's it. Can you see it? I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. It's $3.6 million.
Thank you so much.
Told you it was a surprise.
Best in town here.
Yeah.
Got a lot of photography.
Yeah?
You're famous!
I don't have that many
Keep coming
smiles.
up.
Only 38 more to go.
Oh, my God.
No, if you don't have the photo, it didn't happen. It's great.
Okay, well, this is a first.
What more?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We've never had this before.
Okay.
But see, all those phones, they're actually taking a picture of the check and trying to deposit it
Yeah, right.
with the new technology.
Can you
There go.
put that in your
It's great. It's great. Yeah, he's putting it. Dr. Nimer has taken the check under his jacket, and he thinks he's going to leave the room. And if all you photographers want autographs, the doctors are available 24/7, right? Right. To sign it. Everything will be sent to your chapters, all the pictures, everything. Everything is being recorded, so you'll never have it. Yes.
Chelsea, you want me to take a picture of your phone?
Oh, no. It was just from staff because they need to send the press release.
Serve some drinks. Okay? Okay, it was great. They're going to pass some more drinks, and the buffet will be ready shortly. Thank you all for everything you do, and keep it coming.